Hi everyone, it's Paula here. In this video, I will talk about how to really nurture your child's unique calling. I want to talk about this because it's one of the biggest things that parents always ask me is like, how do I nurture my child so that they can become who they are meant to become? Like so many times parents just see this uniqueness of their child and the amazing gifts and talents that they have. And really, I do believe it's a desire of all parents in their hearts of hearts to support their child in becoming whoever they were meant to become in this world. But what happens? Typically, what happens is a lot of worries and fears and all kinds of pressures that come in the way. And then we end up treating children in a way that starts chipping away from their freedom, chipping away from their exploration, chipping away from really allowing them to grow up to be who they were meant to be. So today I want to talk a little bit about how you can actually support the gifts and talents of your child. And I love the Acorn Theory. I've been reading a book by James Hillman. It's called The Soul's Code, and he talks about the Acorn Theory. And basically, the Acorn Theory goes like this. It says that we all have our unique calling. It's like a destiny that is written in that acorn. It's something that is already in that acorn that is present even before it's experienced, even before one has lived through it. So in his book, he gives a couple different examples of these geniuses that existed, that really had that seed, that kernel in their being already when they were children. So one example is that he mentions in the book is Manolete. He was like the biggest, most famous bullfighter in this world in Spain. And as a child, he was the scrawny little kid. He was the one who was really sicklish. He was super shy and anxious and fearful all the time. He wasn't out there playing with the other boys. He was constantly in the kitchen with mom and like holding on to the apron of mom, and everybody were kind of making fun of him. And nobody at that time had even in their field of consciousness that he would be the bravest, the biggest bullfighter in all of Spain. So it wasn't until he was 11 years old when he went into the bull ring and the bull was charging at him and he did not even flinch. Like he didn't move. Like he was like so brave. And from that moment, he was just overtaken and overcome by the spirit of his soul, and his soul's purpose was like really manifested in that moment. So the lesson from this is, let's not underestimate. The kids who are a little bit different. The kids who are neuroatypical, for example. The kids who are not exactly, fitting to the mold of the society and the expectations. Like they can still become something absolutely amazing. And we just get to nurture that, and we just get to draw that calling out of them, and they get to find that out for themselves. Another example that I really liked in the book was the first world famous violinist, Yehudi Menuhin. So he just loved classical music when he was a little boy. And at 4 years old, he asked for his first violin. He like begged and begged and begged and begged. And his parents finally said yes. And they got him a toy violin. And he threw the biggest tantrum on this earth because parents didn't take him seriously. He wanted to learn the actual violin and not get some silly toy. So the message from this to you is like, take your child seriously. When they are really into something and they are interested in something, let them explore that. Dr. Montessori talks about this a lot, like children need they don't need toys, they need actual tools. So in the Montessori classroom, you're not going to find a toy iron, for example. You will find a real iron. And we teach the child that it's hot. We teach the child how to use it. We teach the child what parts of the iron not to touch. Everything in Montessori classroom is real. We even teach young children, like 3-year-old children, how to light a candle using a match. This is what it takes to prepare the child to the world, by actually giving them real tools, not toys, real knives, little knives they can cut the vegetable, real glasses, real cups, so that they can learn to be very graceful when they are handling them. But nowadays we give kids like all kinds of plastic cups or metal things, and they don't learn because they can knock these things over. So it takes a lot of attention and some patience to teach kiddos this, but they actually love that stuff. So nurturing your child's interest and giving them, like, trusting and believing in them, and giving them the actual tools that they are desiring to get. The third example that I want to share that was in the book is a French writer by the name of Colette. And she had this calling ever since she was young. However, she was resisting her calling. She did not want to write. She was a prolific reader and loved to read a lot of stuff, but she just refused to write. She didn't learn to write. I think it was like when she was like 6 or 7 years old. Like, she could have totally learned to write before that. But she was resisting. She didn't want to hold a pen. She didn't want to have anything to do with pen and paper. And she became one of the world's most amazing authors. So the lesson in that story is like, okay, just being patient with kids, not judging them, even if they are not writing or reading exactly when they are supposed to, if they don't know how to do this or that exactly when they are supposed to. In the book, it talks about, like, Colette's case, for example. It was like the spirit or her soul was almost like protecting her from, like, okay, you are entering this world of becoming this amazing author, and it is like emotionally up and down journey, and it like takes so much out of you. So let's give you a little bit time to protect you, so you can, it's like that what Montessori calls, it's like the bulb of the plant that is underneath the earth. Like, it's growing there, and that's where the seed and the flower eventually manifests. But it just required that time underground to grow and to be nurtured before it could flourish. So I am hoping that these examples will give you really an idea of how to nurture your child's unique calling. And remember, just let them be as free as possible. Like, childhood will take care of itself. Development will take care of itself. Like, the acorn will grow into that majestic oak tree. We don't really need to meddle with it too much, especially at a young age. All it needs is the sunlight, some nurturing, just to be seen. Kids need to be seen and heard. Allow them to experiment and explore, especially in the twos and the teens. So when kids are toddlers, of course, this is exploratory learning happening. They're going here, they're going there, they're going everywhere. Allow that. Don't try to stifle that, because what we are doing when we stifle that is we are actually stifling the flow of life. In teenage years, they want to explore with their hairstyle and their clothing and different activities. And I think it's important to allow the kids to experience that. Let them express themselves. Let them get a crazy haircut and then not like it afterwards. This is part of their journey. Also, like I said before, taking the child seriously. So if they have a request, if they're really into something, let them explore with different sports and activities. And yeah, it might be frustrating. Maybe they stay in this one for a little bit and that one for a little bit, and then they do the third one. But this is just their journey to discover what they like. So listen to them. Listen to them. This is really important. And collaborating with them as well by like, okay, this is what you want to do. Let's figure out how we can make that happen. And of course, it doesn't mean that we give the kid everything, but we try to do our best to give them the closest thing possible if we can exactly get them what they are asking for. So my invitation is always like, okay, let's figure it out together. Let's be on the same team, with your child and figuring that out together. So these are all the different ways that you can really nurture your child's unique talents and unique gifts so that they can become who they want to and truly live their bliss. Life is about that, just living our bliss, living our passion, living our vision, because the thing is that this desire for calling will never ever go away. Even if they follow the parents' footsteps, and I've been a therapist, I've seen this many times when people follow their parents' footsteps and they go to school and they study this and they study what their parents told them to do. They get a job in this field that they were told to get. And then typically when they are in like later 30s or like sometimes even early, but somewhere in the 30s usually, they are like, I don't want to do this. So now they've spent a lot of money, a lot of time going in this direction when they want to go to this direction. So when they are adults, your kids will undo things if it really wasn't in alignment what their vision is. So all this requires a ways of being, of trusting, surrendering, just trusting that your child is perfect just the way they are. And that when you love your child just exactly the way they are, they will love themselves. When they love themselves, they are really equipped to deal and face anything in this world. That's what I believe in. Anyways, thanks for listening, and I hope this was supportive. Bye now.